Hey everybody, it's KFW with the Artisan of Glimmith. This game has turned out to be a lot bigger than I originally intended. I did not think it was going to be, we're like 50 videos in? I thought it was going to be 20 to 30 at most, but it is large. I'm going to go back to the Palisade area. I'm going to finish it off. And in order to do that, I'm going to find the last puzzles. I want to save this one for last. I'm hoping it's good. So far, all the sevens have been good. I haven't been good at all the sevens, but they've all been good puzzles. So let's take care of these sixers. I think this, yeah, these three and then the sevener is what we got going on. So let's grab this here. Precision. All regions have an area of exactly 5. Oh, well then we're just going to have a cross shape right here. That one's just given to us. Okay. We don't have any other restriction. We could have more than one cross shape. So yeah, the only thing is the palisade. So I know that we're going to have with this straightaway. We're going to have that blocked off. We need to have one wall on this one. That one's going to be interesting. Dead end is also interesting. All right, well, let's look at this, this single wall. I'm not sure what to call it. I call this straightaway, dead end, corner, this one with the single wall. Whatever it is, we can't block both of these. So one of these two will be in place. So if the dead end piece moves to the left, it will be, oh no, it will be trapped. We can put it through here, but it is quite restricted if I do that. I can also think of it, what do I do with this straightaway? If I move this straightaway up and down, I would force ups here, but I can't go up too far, can I? I can. There's also not a restriction on one per thing, like this is possible. I can have 2 palisades in one section. Hold on, this one as well is also a single. Or a straightaway right here, so we have a wall here, and we got lighter purple so we can see the wall more easily. Yeah. Like sometimes the coloring in the game can make it a little hard to see what it's doing, but it's really easy to correct that, so it's not something I'd hold against the developers for that. I've got plenty I can hold against the developers, but that's not one of them. So this has to be non-purple. You know, I should probably just think of it that way. This is a not purple color. I'm going to choose an even differenter one. This is yellow. If we were to imagine that it doesn't even connect here, well, then it's got to move out this way, right? Yeah, because this now would take these, if we did this here. So I think we can break the puzzle here, because we're going to require this move. It doesn't actually break it though, does it? Yeah, I think it does. I think this breaks the puzzle, and it actually is up here is the reason why. Because now, the teal section I've created needs to take only one more piece. So who's going to take that one in the top corner? It won't be this piece, and it can't be either of these two. It's going to have to be this, but since it's the dead end here, that's how it's going to go. Now, there's no rule that says every single region has to have a palisade in it, but if I don't do it, there's just not enough space. It has to be one of them with the palisade. So I can say with pretty good certainty that the teal region I created has to move down into here. So if I don't bring this region into the dead end, it just comes out this way. It really isn't a big deal. So now if I do have a straightaway here, what does this do for me? Not much. I can still bring that up. I can still bring this up, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't immediately cause a problem that I need to work on. This might not be the area I'm supposed to look at, but we'll see. I suppose if I were to say this goes in, if the teal section moves left, it will create stuff. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if I put this here. I think I can figure something out here. If I put this wall here, what we can work out for this is this now would be a separate section. But if it moves up into the dead end, now we're really screwed because the dead end wouldn't be able to go into this left area. Nothing would reach because we would have to have all this go on. So I think we'd end up with this scenario, which would force the red out this way, and this would be a different unit. Ah, yeah, this would be a different unit, which means the red would go into there, which would force red. This actually just seems to work fine. Does it, though? Yeah, this actually just works. So the trouble is, I don't know if it's correct. I just know that that particular scenario worked out. So if I make... I'm trying to make one that doesn't work so I can figure out what to do. If I were to say this is the selection, now this wouldn't be able to go up because we'd have an orphan cell there. So now this is its own unit. This unit can't move left, so it would have to move to the right, which means that I'd have to fill these spaces, and I can't fill those spaces. So we know the wall doesn't go there. So we do have to bring the teal space out. So maybe if the wall moves here, we would have the same issue. No. I think so. I think this couldn't move up because now how do we fill this space? We can't fill that space. So we'd have to block it off, but we could make a space like this now. It's not really giving us anything. Yes, it is, because now this purple area can't move up because now we make the straightaway up. It's only 4 spaces. It would have to move this way, which means the straightaway has to go through here, but this has to continue, so the straightaway has nowhere to bend. So if we did this once again is moving to the right. And so we have to fill this space, and we can't fill the space. So the first version of that was the true version, like so. So we did work that out. This has to come out. This has to come out. So we're going to bring this in like so. Bring this out. This comes in, and then we have our setup. So I think this is the correct setup. I wouldn't consider that guessing. I would consider that working it out. That's the way I want to do it. You work out what it is rather than I picked one and said, let's go with it and just try to solve the puzzle. So I think we do the same thing over here, or do we actually just have a better idea of what we got going on? 22, that makes sense. We have this takes 2 more spaces. So basically I have 1 more per palisade. It's possible that it's not quite that way. We can probably do the same thing here because we're going to have something there. And if we put a wall here, right, then this would have to move down because now this has to move out. So we'd have an issue over here. So yes, we can work out that these two are connected to each other. And I think we have the same thing. I think these corners are going to make it different for us is the idea. I should also look over here. This space has to come out. And so it's going to have to touch this corner. This is one I should probably look into. Because if I touch the corner coming in from the top like so, then I have to bend to the left. Totally fine. If I come in this way, I can bend either direction. Didn't have anything. Well, that's fine. All I know is now this can't be the wall. So these 2 units go together. I just don't know if they're part of blue or... Hold on. If there can't be a wall here, because if there's a wall here, then we can't get the blue to escape because it can't go there, but it has to go into there. So these must be part of the same unit, which means whatever's here is going to have to touch this unit because it's not going to touch this one, it'll overload. So we do, in fact, have a P shape there. So now... This dead. I'm trying to think, which way is this corner going to go? This corner, if I started, this feels like the worst thing to do, is to bend the corner in, up, and left. And I'll show why this is the worst thing to do. It's going to make a W shape. It's going to bring it this way, which is going to force our teal shape here, which would force this. And now this guy's got nothing we can do because we can't fill this space. So that does break it. So we know it can't be both of these. Let me see if I do it the other way, if I make it this way. This will break the puzzle. And the reason is we have to put a shape here. It's going to have to come this way, and it's not going to go up here because it breaks the corner. So we'd have this. You'd think, oh, that's just fine so far. Only this now takes these. So who gets that space? Nobody gets that space. Red can't reach it. Teal can't reach it. Teal's got to take 2 more of these 3, which brings it up to 4, which means it doesn't have enough to get down here. So we can work out from that, there is no wall here. This corner piece has to take that, which means it has to take both of these. And now we have another P shape. This is the dead end. If it moves up, we're really in trouble because, again, teal cannot get down here. So now the only one that can get down here is this guy. So let's make it not green, make it a little bit more different than what we got down to orange. That's got to go there, which means... No, it doesn't work either. Maybe there's another way to do this shape. If we have to take these spaces. No, now what takes this space? This space isn't filled with anything. Maybe I do put a wall here. Maybe I do? No, because then I can't put anything there. So anyway, this touches that dead end, it would have to be like this, which doesn't work. No, yeah, this does have to go that way, which means... I think I might have messed something up in here. Is it over here? I think I worked out this is the only answer. So what is it over here? No, this can't be any different. I can't fit anything. There's 4 spaces in here now. This can't fill them all, and if this enters, like, we still have an issue. Oh, we could bring it this way. I didn't think of that. This is actually probably what it's going to be, because now I don't have to worry about that space. I can still do this P shape. I can still do this shape, and now, yep, this is it. I just guessed wrong on the blue shape. That's what it is. That's a really good one. I like that puzzle. I'm hoping to see. I don't know. I found that 6s and 7s tend to be a lot better, so I'm happy with that. Even though they're harder, I'm fine with that. Precision Palisade. Once again, no restrictions aside from that. We'll start down here because these 4 are guaranteed. Now we don't know what any of the other shapes are. Let's see what happens if we bring this shape to the right, right? If we did that, we didn't have the wall between these 2. We now have to have a wall there. This will break the puzzle because we need to add 2 more coming out of this shape. Oh, no. We can actually make it just work. That's fine. Thought we would overload. We won't overload that way. Dang it. And I think it's the same coming this way. We'd have to put a wall here. Lighter color would be great. And then we could just easily... Either one of these would work. Is it possible? It's not possible to do that. So one of these 2 is going to go in. So it's a question of which one. And is there a way for me to work that out? I think there has to be a wall between these 2 up here, actually. Because if there isn't a wall between those 2, we need to take 6 spaces. Because this needs to take here and that needs to take that, which is going to overload. So we do have to put a wall there. So this actually gives us the starting place. This probably is where I should have started. This right here, we're going to get that P shape settled. Not every shape has to take a palisade. It does not say that anywhere, so this shape does not have to reach here. In fact, this can't reach any shape because this shape has to take this much. This would overload. So over here, we also know that's that, but we don't know which other piece it takes. Oh, no, it's not this one because this would have to take a bunch more shapes. Not that many more, but we'd have to take a bunch more shapes. So this actually gives us this shape. Which means this shape here has got to come at least this far out. And it can't touch this shape, so it also has to touch here. Because if it doesn't, we grab that and then we're really screwed. This is the wall here. Yeah. Like so. We got to take these. So the purple is just an eye shape. Now we have another shape in here that's got to escape. This one has to move out. It can't touch this, it overloads. So it can't touch that, it overloads. So we have an N shape right there. This is a T shape. Not sure where the cyan shape is going to lead us. Actually, I don't think I have a guaranteed move from here. I could take this shape or that shape. So a P or a Y shape out of this guy down here. This is P, Y, or F. This one is a P or a T, or a P that way. Is there any way for me to work that out, or do I have to move over to here? I'd prefer not to guess in this place, because I don't think I can work it out. Like if I said this is the one, like I did in the last puzzle where I was like, let's go through the options and see what it gets us, right? That's, you know, working it out. This isn't working it out. This is just guessing, because as what I get from this is I would have either a P shape or an F shape. But that wouldn't really tell me what I can do, does it? Oh, it might. It might actually tell me. But I can also bring it this way. Like, I don't know. There's just too many options, I think. Right? I don't want to go through 400 options, because then I'm brute forcing options rather than going through a small set. Sometimes the difference between a brute force solve and a logical solve is reducing the number of brute force options below like 5. Well, if I said this is a different region, I think we'd have a lot of constraints on it, because we'd have to bring it out. Well, if this became a T, actually, making this a T creates a lot of restraints, because it puts a wall here, and then this has to be, yeah, we can't do it. So we can't make this a T region, so it is a P region. So the question is, which P are we doing? If we said it was the lower P, then this one is gonna have to touch this guy, I think. No, not necessarily. We can just bring it around. We can also do this. Wrong way. We can also, no, we can't touch that. We could also bring this up, and it's just like we don't know. We just aren't sure. If we bring this, that really doesn't tell me anything. Trying to find a break. Maybe I can find one by figuring out this shape, because this shape's got to be at least a T shape coming out of here. So if we said it's this way, it's really not breaking anything. Well, hold on. Can I put something between these two? Probably not. I can't. So these also go into the center section. So I'll show you what I mean. Like, I just did that really quick. But if I said that both of these shapes don't approach this centerpiece, they would both have to be like this. I force a P shape there. And then it would force either this shape or that shape. Well, this could go into here. But either way, whatever's in this spot is going to have to escape to the corner, which means it goes into here and overloads, or it goes into here and overloads. So at the very least, I know we got to go into the center. So the question is, does it go into the center here? If we do that, either we have a P shape here or a Y shape there, that is for sure. But then over here, we have this shape, forcing a P, forcing a P, forcing a Y. This actually breaks it, because now, what goes there? So I think we can't put a wall there. That's a very, very small deduction, but every deduction helps. So I think if we do this here, now we can't bring this up because we are definitely going to overload by doing this, because both of these need to add 2 more spaces, which would give me quite a large region. So this would have to block here. And now the question is, do we block that? If we blocked it there, it really wouldn't be a big deal, would it? I think it would. The reason is this teal space could only move 1 more in, so there's definitely a region here. And this region comes out this far. Well, now we have 2 walls here. We can't do that. Unless we say, but we go this way. Well, now we overload the orange. So we can't put the wall below the red. We've got to put the wall to the side of this red. Now, if we put it on this side, this piece would have to come in. We know that much. And we'd bring that. This so far doesn't break anything. We have a couple options here. We'd also know this one up here. We'd know that. And we would know this one. Oh, hold on. This actually might give me something. Because look, now we have this going on. We'd have to take that space, have to take that space. Both of these spaces need to be taken, so it would be this way. And we're broken. This breaks the puzzle. Because that now... Oh no, hold on, this isn't done. This is just it. Oh, this might actually just be it. Why couldn't we rotate the shapes the other way though? It very much feels like I'm just messing around rather than solving the puzzle. Because over here I should have, yeah, one extra space above a multiple of 5 because this one's not complete. Why is this correct though? Because the only other alternative here, which is this red going that way, is to say the red goes this way. But this would now create... I think this creation here will cause a problem. This is what will cause a problem. Yes, because we can't take this space in. So what I had was the correct thing just by stumbling, going through. I don't know, sometimes I like, if I'm going through, like, I got 3 options or 4 options to try, I want to demonstrate all the wrong ones first so I know for sure the one I select is correct. Because otherwise I end up in a position where something seems to work, but I'm not sure if the other position would have also worked. So this is what we have to do. And then this piece has to move in this way, which means here... that was taken care of. And then we know that these all have to be blocked because the corner piece is going to move. We know that this is a wall, so this is where that's going to go. So yeah, we have this, we have that, we have that, and we have that. Those are all set, which means this piece has to move in. So yep, we have, I'm not going to make it blue. This is the same color as what I got here. I'm going to make it, I've used so many colors in this vicinity. I'm going to make it purple. So now we got to take that. So the question is, what do we do here? So let me take an orange guy there. Now we could make a C shape, or we could do a W shape, or an N shape. That's just got to be there. Let's look at this guy maybe. I suppose if I put a wall here, we're going to run into trouble, right? I think this is a troublesome position to be in. Yes. If we put this wall on the left side, now these don't work, because if we block these, right, that doesn't work. But if we take it, then it doesn't work because we've got our 5. So we know this has to move left. It still can't move right. I'm trying to think, it can't take both of these spaces is the idea. So it actually has to move up. Because if I block this, now again, we have the same problem. We can't block this space from being cyan, but we also can't make it cyan. So this has to move up, and then only one of these 2 is taken, which means that this piece here has got to take those 2. And then one more of these. So it can't take this purple down there. This can't be a new region. It has to be the orange region, and that's the C. This has to be a dead end. So how do I make this work? I think the only way to make this dead end work is to make it part of the purple region. Or the cyan region. If it's a new region here, which direction to go? If it goes here, great. It has to bend, and now we're stuck. If it goes this way, it's either there or there. And if it goes this way, this is the biggest we can make it. We just can't fill it out. So it's either purple, like this, or it is cyan. Either way, purple has to come this way. If we bring purple up, we say this is where the wall goes. This piece goes up, and now we've surrounded the dead end. So I think that's what we got to figure out. That's where the wall is. It means that's the wall, which means this does, in fact, go this way. So if I bring the purple, cyan, or yellow into this space I've created, it's game over. Because I got 5 spaces in here. Anything that moves into the space now leaves 4 in some way. Let's do what... This way doesn't orphan the cell, obviously. And I would say, oh yeah, 4. We can fill it with these. Nope, we can only do 2 more pieces into here. And in fact, any purple piece moving in here creates an orphan. So we do have to block these. And it does, in fact, make this the path, which makes this piece here. And we have to fill these in. And we're good. That's another good puzzle. Okay, good. 2 for 2. Same thing. Precision 5, Palisade. I think I'll get the idea. Well, at least this puzzle's kind enough to give us an opening move. I think these 2, just like before, have to be separated. Because once again, if we don't separate them, well, this piece needs 2 more and this piece needs 2 more. There's no way to do so without making 6, right? Let me see how it goes. So these are separated. So that's got to be there. And then that's got to be there. So the trouble now at this corner, hold on, what's this piece right here? Right here, we got to have a piece. It can't be the yellow, so it's got to be a new region, which has to escape at least this far, which means this can't be not yellow. Don't know how else to say that. If this is not yellow, then yeah, the reason this can't be like this is because we have to make this happen. But now we're at 5 and we have another corner piece to do. So therefore this is the yellow piece and the red piece is this. So let's make a nice dark blue or regular old blue here. It's got a block, that's got to be a dead end. And then we don't know where we go from there. Actually, I think we do. Imagine if we put a wall above this blue space. We would need a new thing here. That's great. The blue needs to come out. Where does the blue go to make this? Ah, no, it works. Dang it. Didn't break it. It just where I'd have to do that. This is possible. This is a possible thing to do. So it might, in fact, be the answer. I just can't do that. If I bring this out, it has to be like so, or I have to make a W shape. This straightaway now is set. It can't be up and down, because then the dead end is trapped. So we do have a straightaway going through this way, which does give us our dead end? No, maybe. Maybe even a dead end going this way. But we have to block these. It's pretty restrictive if I put a dead end coming out of here, though. But not that restrictive. It's not impossible to figure something out. All right. Anywhere else we can do some cheap maneuvering like this? This straightaway can't be left or right, I don't think. Because if we do this, how do we fill all these spaces here? This can't be a new unit because there's only 4 spaces to fill. This has to fill 1 more space, right? And so this dead end has to be one of these two. It can't be cyan, doesn't fit. So orange would have to go up. But now, how do we fill these 3 spaces? Both orange and cyan only have 1 more free space, and there's 3 to go. I could do like this, or I could do that. Either way, there's something missing. So this straightaway has got to go up and down, which means we got a corner piece here. Now this corner cannot move left. The reason it can't move left is now there has to be a new unit here, and it's not going to fit, and the cyan can't reach. So the corner has got to move to the right. So we can also move this to the right, or we could say no, we can continue to move this. We can move that left because that still fits. So we know this much. We can't move it down because now we'd have to overload it. So this straightaway is now, this is going to be that shape. It's just a T shape is done. So now the orange does have to either move to the right or move left. We don't know yet, but we do know that in this space we need a new shape. So I'm going to make it, color is not quite what's in here. I'm going to make it yellow. So this shape here, this has to be new. Can't be the orange, can't be the purple, obviously it can't. But it could be part of the dead end, but regardless, it has to come out this far, at least. And it can't move down because it would require 1 more piece. So that is that. Now we could connect to the dead end and say we got an L shape, we're good. Let me actually look at this space in here. We got 8. This is broken. Wait, how else do I do this then? Should probably looked at that first. How else do I do this? Let's look back here. So we know this much. Now over here, this straightaway can't go left right because we don't have the right number of spaces here. We can't make it work. Yeah, we just can't make it work. So this does have to be up and down. This can't move left because we don't have enough spaces in here. Excuse me. So it's got to move right. So now we've got to have, so let me just think of the unit that goes here. This has to go at least this far down. This unit also has to be sideways. Oh, hold on, I made an assumption with the T shape because in my mind, since I was going this direction, it was like a T shape like this, but I can always just take those 2 spaces. I just know that this is how it goes. Actually, this can still move that way. So these 3 are guaranteed red space now. So we have the same thing. If this moves left, we're fine. If it moves right, we're fine, which means we do have to have a yellow piece going out this way. But now it can also move down. No, it can't. If this yellow piece moves down, it has to move to the right. Right? If it moves down, it doesn't, I'm saying it doesn't touch the straightaway. Then it goes here. Now the straightaway has nothing it can do. So this yellow piece actually does still need to go into the straightaway. The only difference now is there's no guarantee whether it's a Y shape, an I shape, L shape, or L shape there. This piece, if I ever bring this one down, we're screwed because the red can't fill that space. So that is where the wall is, which means orange does move into one of these two. Oh, hold on, this should be done. Red's got to move down. So the question is, which direction does orange go? Well, this is finished. Well, we're going to have a new shape here. We're just going to have a new shape that goes at least that far. That is for sure. This can't move down because the corner demands an extra piece. So there's a new shape in here as well. This shape's got to come out and bend and stop there. It's got to go here, which is going to make a W shape. So this is going to solve this section in the center. So now we can't have an L shape here. It would create an orphan cell, so you have an I shape. And golly gee, I hope that all this logic is in fact correct. So we're going to take a blue shape up and down. It's the only way we can go. We got to move in and we have an orphan cell issue. We can't move here now because we would need so many extra pieces that we would go to jail. So there's this. No guarantees what to do next except that this corner piece has to move this direction. Now it could move into this corner just fine, or it could be blocked and we could just have something else. Actually, let's think about me having to sneeze. 1 second. Let's think about, excuse me, let's think about the space in here. The space down here, we got 4 spaces. We can't have a new shape. We have to use these shapes to fill it in. And I can't have them all be red, so one of them has to be blue. We do have an S blue shape and a P red shape. So now this one right here has got to move up. And then either left or right, but we don't know. We got to have a shape in here. Now if the shape moves into the dead end, then it has to move up and has nowhere to go. So this cyan shape has to avoid the dead end and it's done. It just has to go there, which means we have a P shape here. That's the only thing we can do because we got to have something here that fills in. Now in this space right here has got to move up. And if it moves to the left, it can't then move up here because it would need another piece. So either way, it has to come up this way. And then it can't move here because it would need an extra space. So that is blocked. So it's either a Y shape or an I shape. We're not totally sure yet. But this shape now needs to move out. And so we're going to make it, what color am I going to make it? It's very important. I pick all the right colors. So this shape's got to move out, which means we can't connect to this one because now we need an extra piece that overloads. So that's got to be blocked. So this piece has to move up. That is guaranteed. This one could move. This one can't move up because now, where do we put the orange? Where do we put the orange is done. So we got to block it here. And we got to make an N shape there. A dead end here. Yeah, we force a P shape into this region right here. And I think we have this one solved, right? I hope we have this one solved. Wait, how many? We got 8. How do we have 8 regions to do? Oh, hold on, the blue region. I was like, I have one more here and I have 7 left. No, hold on. This is how it's going to go. I've got it. I was like worried there for a second, like, how did I miscount so badly? And also, how would it be possible to miscount that badly? There we go. Fantastic puzzle. I've been going for half an hour, but I want to finish this area in this. We only have one left. It's the big one. So let's see. Maybe this takes an hour and I have just one big fat video to do. Okay. Precision Palisade and Polyomino. I can appreciate that. Well, we do have a gimme. This level has given us enough to say we have our cross shape right there. That is given. We can't do anything about it but that. This I shape here cannot move left and right. It must move up and down. And it's going to... I could avoid both of those dead ends, unfortunately. I would have loved to say it has to touch one of the dead ends. But it does not. It can go there. This is the furthest it can go. Now up this way, this is the furthest. So we do know for sure the I shape has to take these spots. So we need something in here. It's no guarantee that this is one unit though. This N shape is going to need to enter the upper, because otherwise we have an orphan cell. So if it moves to the right, we're screwed because now we have to bend it again. And it goes into this shape, which isn't going to work. So we've got to move down. And then it's got to, okay, so the I shape is done. I'm worried because all these deductions actually came really easily, and I'm supposed to have a level 7 puzzle. So I'm thinking I must have screwed it up. There's no way it all comes that easily, but we'll see. So I've got to have a corner piece here. It could touch this one. We have no guarantees, so that's as far as that deduction gets me. I can also move this direction, and that doesn't cause a problem. Now this shape, this good old P shape cannot have a wall underneath it because then we'd have to move out, and we can't move it up or down from here. We'd have to have 3 long, it doesn't work with the P shape. So it does have to move down. Then it can't go that way. This is possible. Actually, if it can't move this way, is there anything else it can do? It can't move up now, and it can't move to the right. I think this P shape is now set here. So the corner shape does have to move in here. So it takes one more piece. Which piece is that? We don't know. It could be a W shape, F shape, oops, N shape, or it could actually be the P shape here. It could take both of these. There's no rule that says one symbol. In fact, we've already broken that rule. We have plenty with 2 symbols in it. This C shape is now interesting. Oh, it's still not super restricted, is it? Well, let's plan it out. This be part of the C shape. Now, is it the center of the C shape? This little bit I'm pointing out right here. The answer to that is no, because then it would need to. Oh, this is one way to make the center, but the T is impossible. Another. Oh, that's not the center though. That's a corner piece. The center would be. Yeah, it'd have to go straight up and down, which would mean this. So it is not the center of this. If it's a corner of it, that's one way, but the T is impossible. This is a perfectly legal way to do it. Is there any other way to make the corners of this? Any way to make it the edge? This can't be like that. I think this is the only way to make it, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm just in my head mapping it on. I can make... So if I just think of it as rotation, because flipping isn't a thing you can do this, it's either rotation. So it's either just directly a C shape, but it could also be directly a C shape here. So this is a legal thing I can do. No, it isn't. This doesn't work. This breaks the puzzle because now the T shape creates an orphan cell. Because it has to move out, and because it moves out... no, this works. It doesn't touch that. I thought it would touch the corner piece. So, but it would have to move out 3 spaces. It couldn't do that. It would have to be this, and it would be fine. So I don't think I have the C shape figured out yet. Is there anywhere else? This C shape is also a bit restricted. So if I think of it with the C shape, it can't be there. It would have to be something like this. If I were to rotate it this way, this is the shape. This is a possibility. No, I don't think this is a possibility because now we have that. C shape. If I go backwards C shape, this is the only place it could go, or that. This is it's all legal. It's all legal. This is actually not legal because the F shape now can't do anything because the F shape would have to take all of those cells. And then, there's another F shape in there. None of that fits. Now, I don't have any restriction on 2 F shapes next to each other. There's too many options for the C shapes too. All right, I've got to have somewhere I can break into this. Is there anything this Y shape can't do? Can this Y shape move like this? The Y shape can't go into here because then we'd have an L shape. But it could be these. If I made the Y shape go like this, these S shapes would be really restricted. Right? Is there any way I could make this? This shape can go here, but that doesn't work. This doesn't work. This works, but now that one doesn't. This doesn't. In fact, these 2 can't connect to each other in any way, right? Yeah, I don't think those two can connect to each other in any way. I think the Y also has to move up and down. It can't go up that far, though. Can't go down to there. Let me work out this Y. I don't think the Y can be sideways. And if the Y is sideways, 1, 2, 3, 4, it would have to take at least these three. And it couldn't take the corner, because then it would have to make an L shape. So it would, in fact, take all four of these. It would take one of these three, but it doesn't matter because now this S is impossible to create. This piece here. If we move it to the left, we have this issue. If we move it to the right, we have this issue. If we move it up, it doesn't go that way or that way because we're screwed. So I think the Y has to be up and down. Now with the Y going up and down, this is the furthest up and go, but now it creates a problem with the straightaway. We have to go further. So it can only go that far. And down here is the same issue. We can't have a corner piece here. So the Y must take these three for sure, which means this S now has a bit more on restriction side. If this S moves left, right, it would have to now move up, which isn't going to work, or down, which isn't going to work. So it doesn't move left. If it moves up, it can't move up 3 spaces because it can't go left or right from here. Right? Yeah, it would. We can't do that. So, in fact, if we move down this way, yeah, we can't do that either. So if it moved, it would. This breaks the straightaway, this breaks that. So in fact, I think it moves down and here, which is perfectly legal. Now this S is a bit more of a problem because we can't move it down. Because if we move it down, we either have to move it to the left twice, which doesn't work, or we have to break this straightaway. So this wouldn't move there. If it moved to the right, it would either do that or it would... This breaks the C shape, I know that much. Does this work? This, not that. Shoot, what would work? If it moves right, it would have to move up. How would this work? This is like the only way it works. Right? So I think that's set, which means this piece, I think this S piece, we can't move it down because there's no place to move. So we're going to block that, which means the red shape now needs to move into there. So we have an N shape here, which means the C shape does in fact need to be this. Which means that this dead end can't move up into that space because now it's a dead end. So the Y shape has to go in there. That's the Y shape. Gosh, I hope this is all right, because if it isn't, we're going to run into trouble later. This T shape has only one arrangement because we need to find a place. The T shape, think of it as it inhabits a 3x3 box. Wherever the T shape goes, this is something I've probably said a lot, all right? If the T shape, however I've set this up, it fits inside a 3x3 box, which means I have to find somewhere that's got free spaces 3 across and free spaces 3 down. This is the only spaces 3 down. So the T must be here. That is guaranteed. Let's make it a lighter color. So we're going to get a bunch of shapes from that. We're going to get a P shape there, and we're going to get another Y shape here. And a P shape over here as well. So this S shape now, if it starts by moving, if we don't take the space to the left, we either move it like this, breaks the dead end, or we break the straightaway. So it moves to the left, which means it moves up. This is done. This C shape, let's make it a slightly different color, goes here. The F shape is also set. It has to be like this. Cool. So we're going to have this, and it's all working out, baby. What do I do here? I think I make an S shape here. Yeah, this is how it's going to go. Make an S shape here, and the puzzle is done. You can probably just see it from this point. Everything fits perfectly. That actually wasn't like any harder than the 6s, but I liked it. I like the 6s and 7s. I like the 1s and the 2s. It's the 3 through 5 where it just feels like the designers are like, we don't know how to make it medium hard, so let's make a puzzle that would otherwise be easy and then just make you have to guess it. That just seems like all the 3s and 4s and 5s. Okay. That's probably where we should stop because it's been 3/4 of an hour. Dear me. But we finished it. We bejeweled the Palisade wall, which good riddance to Palisades. Not my favorite rule. I respect it though. I think the rule is fine. It's a little bit harder to wrap your mind around, and so it can make puzzles harder than they need to be. But that's not the fault of the developers. That's just, unless of course it's the iconography is a little hard to get your mind around, but that's fine. It's fine. Great section, great puzzles. I'm going to stop there. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Have a bye.